Thank you. I was expecting actually Dr. Pawan Kumar and Dr. TVS Bakshi to join us because they are the experts in their field. And so the way I have made my presentation is to talk about telemedicine, where it is today and what's happening there. Only last month I was chairing the International Telemedicine Congress, where for 3 days we discussed different aspects of telemedicine. And in this session I am going to run you through a different aspect of telemedicine. So the topic is bridging barriers to revolutionize diagnosis and care. It's good to talk about, telemedicine bridging the divide for care and diagnosis and teleradiology. But we must first understand where is telemedicine and where it is headed for. So if we see the growth of telemedicine, across the world, it's the same level. Whether you talk of US, you talk of India, you talk of any part of the world, it's still in the pilot phase. That's the reality. Hundreds of millions of dollars go in every year, and we still say so many pilots running. So this is the telemedicine evolution cycle, and let's see where exactly it is. So it starts with advocacy. So once you start with advocacy, you get into policy. You have an enabling policy. That leads to infrastructure. This will lead to issues of capacity building. Then you will have this positioning of funding and development of the financial models in telemedicine. Then you get into research. Unless you have research, telemedicine gets nowhere. That's the reality. Then you have the clarity on legal and regulatory issues. That will lead to adoption. Adoption will lead to mass deployment. So if you really ask me where is telemedicine today, we are in the policy phase. So we have a long way to go. So we have still not gone beyond the policy phase. Now let me take you some, see this year, 2011 is historic for telemedicine. It was just a coincidence that I was involved in some of the policy initiatives of the government, and I'll quote you specifically what we have achieved this year. So when it comes to policy and advocacy, this has been a breakthrough year for telemedicine. This is the official document of the Government of India called the New Delhi Call to Action, which concluded after a 2-day meeting in Delhi on 23rd and 24th August this year. And I was a part of it. Trust me, the biggest issue that was that people don't understand telemedicine at the government level. When we talked saying, we are talking about addressing chronic diseases. Unless we put technology and in specific telemedicine and mHealth, how will we manage it? And the answer that came from the Director General of Health Services and the Minister is, okay, let's put ICT for managing chronic disease. I said, that's a very vague word. I mean, ICT is subjective. What will we measure after 1 year, what we did in this subject? I said, let's focus specifically on telemedicine, put the word telemedicine and more specifically mHealth. So there was a whole lot of debate. But finally what came out was this. Point 2.12, promoting use of information technologies like telemedicine to improve access of NCT services. So this, I think, is a breakthrough for telemedicine when it comes to the healthcare system of our country. This has happened. So I'm sure the government is going to promote telemedicine at all levels, state and center both. There's another government initiative, if you see the National Policy on Information Technology 2011. Now I'm quoting specific clauses of this. So the main document talks of focusing on application of technology-enabled approaches to overcome monumental development change challenges in education and health. So health has formed a priority for the healthcare IT policy. These are verbatim picked up from the National IT document. Then to leverage ICT for key social initiatives like education, health, rural development, and financial services to promote equity and quality. This is another part of objective. Now we get to strategy of the National IT policy. To promote the use of IT in key economic sectors such as construction, textiles, pharmaceuticals, banking, finance, retail, energy, automobiles, healthcare, agriculture. So again you see healthcare has been finding the key place in the national IT policy as well. Now this is very important. There health takes the first lot to undertake implementation of mission mode projects in health education. So in as much that Ministry of Health will take time to understand the use of ICT or telemedicine on mHealth, but the Ministry of IT has taken a proactive role, which is a good sign. Now we only have to see how we bridge both, because both the ministries don't talk to each other, unfortunately. So let's take up issues one by one. So in infrastructure, So in the evolution cycle, we see that we have got 900 million mobile phone users, over 8,500 medical applications available on cell phones, young net-savvy population, 100 million plus internet users. A few hospitals have set up dedicated telemedicine facilities. India is the hub of IT for the world. Technically capable manpower is available. EMR industry is growing. Tablets and phones are getting cheaper. 3G is available and 4G will be reality by 2012. We are hoping that the data price would be like 10 rupees to a GB in 2012. If that comes in, healthcare gets the biggest benefit. This is the actual growth of mobile health applications last year. I mean, you see minimum growth in the Apple Store was 66.6% to as high as 156 in the Android application space. So health applications are growing at a frantic pace. Now, capacity building. Now, this is a major area of concern. In as much we can talk about telemedicine, e-health and m-health, the biggest area of concern is human resource development. We are hoping that the National Council for Human Resource and Health will focus on training of HR for telemedicine. Again, it's a coincidence that I was a part of the consulting group, and the call that I got from the Union Health Minister's office on 31st January is yes, action on the NCRH recommendations. One of the key recommendations I have put is to make telemedicine a part of the curriculum. Unless that happens, no doctor is going to practice this. It's not going to happen ever. Medical Council of India is willing to push for telemedicine course. But problem is that MBBS curriculum in a current form has got too many modules for 5 years curriculum. There is no scope to put it. In fact, we had our very dear friend Dr. Isam, who is the governor of MCI. He has even agreed to start a specific course dedicated to telemedicine. Now, this is where the opportunity for a group like this is to keep sending recommendations to MCI so that they get to work on it. He is willing to put specific dedicated training for doctors in the curriculum. We need to initiate it. Need to create regional training centers for telemedicine. We have one in Lucknow, which is called the School of Telemedicine in Sanjay Gandhi PGI. Specialized short-term courses for healthcare professionals in telemedicine. See, in abroad, why it has taken off is because in the education, they have recommended the use of tablets and phones. Because once doctors get used to studying medicine with these gadgets, they are more comfortable using them in the normal practice. Unfortunately, in India, it doesn't happen. Another big worry is funding. The biggest issue for telemedicine ventures is funding. All major projects are either not-for-profit or trust-run. Even Apollo's telemedicine is a trust-run project. So the biggest issue is there is no financial model in telemedicine at this point in time. That's a reality. And funding isn't available, to be realistic. People still believe that it is a gimmick. People still believe that it's something that is not got a business model, will not work. So unfortunately, neither private equity, neither venture firms have got into funding of telemedicine. Those hospitals that talk of telemedicine being a part of it are doing it as a not-for-profit initiatives. The government-run projects have not gone beyond the pilot phase, actually could not even sustain the pilot phase. I can tell you that I am working after this telemedicine congress that we worked in Bombay. The first call that came was from Sachin Pilot immediately after the conference. He had come, he had been a keynote speaker at the conference. So one of the things he said, Rajan, can we work on this initiative, take it all over the country? And as I got deeper into it, he said, we had started in my constituency. I said, what happened? So he asked the CDAC person to call me. CDAC person said, Rajan, last September we kind of stopped because of different issues. So the government projects have not even crossed the pilot phase. They die within the pilot phase. So that's one of the biggest issues. So what to do? See, it's the time for the industry to come together. Out of the telemedicine congress what we did was assemble the group of people who had come. We had a fantastic audience of 500 people coming in from all over the world. We said, look, government is not going to look at it because of some bad precedents, They are not going to look at it, probably. They will say, but they will not. So let's come together, showcase what can be done. So we picked up 3 issues. One is the issue of infant mortality, maternal mortality. The other is chronic diseases. And third is early interventions and diagnosis. So if you are able to showcase business models in these 3 areas, I'm sure government can go and propagate to different states. Research. I have said in this forum last year, that telemedicine is not taking off because of one big issue. We don't have research to say it works. So in any telemedicine presentation that you will come across will showcase you data from US and Europe. It will never showcase you data from India. And that's one of the biggest gaps for our Indian telemedicine practitioners. So all those who are into telemedicine, they'll never share the data. They say we are doing good. Some will say we do 50,000 consultations. Some will say we have been doing for 5 years very successful. But you ask them to showcase actual data, they will keep mum. Even if you are doing 5,000, what's wrong in it? Share data transparently. People do not invest in research for outcomes related to telemedicine. See, medical fraternity, people always blame. It's very easy to blame doctors saying they are averse to use of technology. And I have always believed it is not so. I keep repeating, a 64 slice CT scan. I mean, Dr. TVS Bakshi is not here, but we inaugurated the 64 slice CT scan in 2007 in Institute of Medical Sciences, BHU together. If you were there, he would have been a witness to it. Now I think we are above 1,000 slice CT scan. It's just a period of 4 years. Siemens or GEs of the world would not have launched so rapidly 64, 128, 256 if doctors didn't accept technology. There are surgical implants that doctors accept. So what is the difference in doctors accepting those implants and not telemedicine? Clinical evidence. If we can show that telemedicine is effective and it doesn't lead to either loss of data or any problems in treatment, doctors will be the first one to adopt it. But I think we lack clinical evidence to show the success of telemedicine. I was reading a study where it was shown, of the treatments that Dr. Devi Shetty has done, the patients only spend 14% of the cost they would have spent going for a physical treatment. But those studies are never propagated. That is what is needed to be done. Unless we invest in research, we will not be able to convince the medical fraternity to use telemedicine. That's a given. It's time to come under one project. See, after this telemedicine congress, Ministry of IT, Disease Management Association of India and Telemedicine Society of India worked on this project called iHope. This is improving health outcomes by practicing e-health. So this is a joint initiative. We are working on the modalities to bring a couple of like-minded people in telemedicine together, showcase those 3 issues of addressing chronic diseases, early interventions, infant and maternal mortality over the next 8 to 10 months. And then the Ministry of IT takes it to all the state governments, the success stories of this project. Unless we are able to come under a national platform and do it, telemedicine is not going to change. It's going to still remain the same. We will talk the same thing after 5 years. Legal and regulatory issues need to be sorted out to ensure provider user adoption. There is a lot of scare. If something goes wrong, who is to be held? Whether you will hold the technology provider or whether you hold the doctor. So that has still not been cleared. So when it comes to adoption, we are still in the pilot phase. That's the reality. Telemedicine to become an important component of rural health, which the government is not putting in. Telemedicine to be used for chronic disease management. I'll tell you that the Planning Commission has asked for 55,000 crores for chronic disease management. And there is still no component of IT. Now we are impressing upon them to use IT. EMRs to be adopted for clinical practices. There is a talk about Aadhaar being used, but the problem with Aadhaar is Aadhaar itself, the bill has not even been passed. There is an ego clash. They believe that it is something that will be done by the Registrar General. Aadhaar should not be done. So that, I think, is at this point in a limbo. Tablets should be used for medical education, and this is the best way to get doctors to use latest technology. See, whichever countries this has been used, telemedicine is growing fast. If 100 million consumers used health-related applications on mobile phones, we would have reached the threshold of going mass scale on telemedicine. I'll share with you a data which shows that in markets where the applications are available, people are adopting at a faster pace. So mass deployment. 150 million diabetes and hypertension screenings to be done by March 2012. See, this is a very interesting part of the comment. This is yesterday's news. When I was a part of that New Delhi call to action, which is not that far, it was done on 23rd August, where Ghulam Nabi Azad said, we will scan 200 million people It immediately came down to 150 million. Trust me, by March, it will not be even 10 million. Because the same day, I traveled with the MD of a company whose name he took, saying we have tied up. And I asked that MD, how are you giving them glucose strips at 5 rupees? He said, I have not signed any contract. Now, these are statements. They put us at odd before the industry. Because this is a statement where a minister says we will scan 150 million. 150 is a huge number. You know, there is no partnership in place, there is no agreement in place, and there is a big number. Even if they did 2% of it, that's a big boost to the diagnostic industry, both primary and secondary. Because if you check someone for diabetes, our estimates show that at least 17% of the people suffer from diabetes, and almost above 20% from hypertension. Now, if you got people suffering from that, what next? The government may not have a plan, but if I am diagnosed diabetic, I'll definitely go to a doctor and do my entire diagnosis. So for sure, the theme of this session that I am chairing is about changing diagnostics and care. Now, this major decision of the government is going to change the diagnostic industry in a very big manner. They are the first beneficiaries. When you catch someone with diabetes or hypertension, they will go for detailed diagnosis. Are we really prepared for it? I mean, if we count the diagnostic labs in the country, I can tell you after 5, we will start fumbling for names. We start with Religare, Thyrocare, Metropolis, Arvind, and after that, we have to think of names. Are we really prepared? In a country of 1.2 billion people, we will have at least 250 million chronic cases. Are the labs really prepared to, make the best use or even serve the population? Forget the best use. These are the issues. In the 12th five-year plan, healthcare spending on chronic disease may go up to 55,000 crores. They have asked for this number, and hopefully we'll get it. So if they get it, this is typically what I see. Either 80% of the money will get, in the wrong channels, which is gets every year, or the other thing is 45% it will be only used. So I had an interesting discussion with the director of a national program. I said, you have thousands of crores given in your bank. So what stops you from using it? And he had a very simple answer. He said, Rajan, let me tell you that since you send me an email on my personal account, so I'm able to answer you. For the government account, I don't have a provision for a staff that can check my emails. So unless there is a structure, unless there is administrative support, the money does come to my bank. There is a big news about it. But we know within 1 year, I will get a call from the Prime Minister office or from a Health Minister office saying all unused funds, please return 50%. There is a calamity and the Prime Minister has made an announcement. So we are very well prepared every year for it. So every year we get funds and every year we return funds. So if you see NRHM, the effective utilization is 45%. And we are asking for 55,000 crores. Government will sanction, knowing very well 28,000 crores will come back. That's why they shy from using technology, because if they use technology, you can't give these answers. So this is we need to use technology. We need to get really good diagnosis and care, that to point of care diagnostics, to make sure this goes to the people. Otherwise, these plans are good, but they will not get implemented. So rural health will undergo drastic changes and M-Health could get a real boost. So this is where the government is now looking at. But again, the problem is government does not have solutions. It again goes to the industry sitting here saying, okay, let us get people who have solutions, but they will not have research. They will not have data to show that this is what they can do. Again, government will say, yeah, we had money for you, but unfortunately don't have, and we don't give money for pilots. So the thing will be same what Tarun Sim said to me 5 years back. I have 1,500 crores for telemedicine, but I can't give for pilots. So again, the money goes back. It was reduced to 200 crores. I don't know where the money is today. So I think the industry should be very well prepared to come together to share research. Even if you treat 10 patients, please document it. Because unless you showcase that data, the government is not going to believe you. 11% of adult use mobile users have M-Health applications to track or manage health. Do we have in India? Can we tell how many health applications are downloaded in India, how many are used? Most of us may be having something on our phones. Who tracks? Who shows that? I mean, even if we go and tell the government tomorrow to, say mobile health should get a big boost, we should allocate 50 crores. Okay, say tell us what's happening in that space. We have nothing about it in India. It's a reality. Now, this is something that I was discussing with the Ministry of IT, and they also believe it, that it is not possible for everyone to own a computer or to operate a computer for health. But certainly the smartphone becomes your first computer, which you can use for health. So everything in healthcare will finally converge to M-Health. For those who are not taking it, are losing a big thing. If they are still thinking that the physical, hard way of dealing with e-health is going to get confined to computer or doctors, they're living in a very different scene, and they're not even anticipating what's going to happen 5 years down the line. It's time to prioritize inclusive healthcare as a key component of healthcare policy. And without telemedicine, aim of providing inclusive healthcare will never happen, will become a reality. It's a fact. Government has opened primary healthcare centers. I mean, on my blog, I have read there are 20,000 visitors. Every time one question is asked, will NRHM get extended after 2012? When I write yes, they say, will it get extended after 2017? No one has an answer. A whole lot of people have been given contract jobs. Their future is at stake. When you serve NRHM for 15 years and they say, no, contract is over because that's a contractual job. Millions of people may get out of job. Can the government sustain that kind of infrastructure? This 5-year plan is 55,000 crores. Next 5-year plan, they will ask for 1,28,000 crores. If you see the Parliamentary Account Committee report on health, their expectation is that healthcare needs 1,26,000 crores. We already are running a deficit where our subsidies take 1 lakh crore in the government. If that is the scene, will social health actually be the right thing for the government to do over a long period of time? You cannot be building hospitals. The telemedicine is the only way to go for addressing rural health, even in urban health, forget rural health. What I see, these are the innovations in India. Unfortunately, it's limited to again 4 or 5. These are the success models with best practices. See, I know EMRI, all of us know what they have done in Andhra Pradesh and even other states where they have gone in. Same with HMRI, the 108 ambulance schemes. Arvind Eye Hospital has done cataract operations at $15, which is the cheapest in the world. It's a rare innovation, and they use telemedicine extensively. The mobile-based high-risk expectant mothers tracking system, which is implemented by government of Maharashtra, that has brought down the maternal mortality by 93%. Is Shivan Ganju coming to this? Shivan is coming. So Shivan, if you meet Shivan Ganju, he's coming tomorrow, right? Today only. So when you meet with him, sit with him. He works in Amethi. He is a US gastroenterologist. Just by giving right information to mothers, his organization called Save a Mother Foundation has brought down the maternal mortality by 82 or 83%, should be higher by now. I keep telling Shiban, if you use technology, you would grow this much faster, and now he's getting to use that because he still gets into manual reporting. So these are a couple of applications with best practices which I am sure the government will adopt, which is being adopted. You see that every state government is getting for an emergency response team because it's proven. The call center scheme, but telemedicine has to go much beyond. This is not just enough. If you really want to take telemedicine to people and change the way care and diagnosis happens, it has to go much beyond. You can't stop at 5 best practices in the country. There are a whole lot of things to be done. This is something that I love to present when it is telemedicine. See what happened in 10 years' time. Some of us have used trunk calls. If you booked a trunk call, it was till 1993, 94, even beyond that, because telemedicine, mobile phone was 16 rupees 80 paisa per minute. Trunk call, they would say, okay, you keep sitting in your home, we'll call you back. So for 6 hours, you are waiting for a call to get connected to either Chandigarh or Delhi. I mean, right now you want to call anywhere in the world, you have to pick your cell phone and call. So now even remote places in Africa, people are using cell phones. So this is what technology can do, and mobile has to be the last point of delivery for healthcare, and that is what will happen. My belief is we can keep speaking at these forums, work independently and achieve successes on standalone basis. But if we wish to take telemedicine to masses, we have to come together, work together, and let's impress the policymakers and users to take to telemedicine. In these forums, you will find always, I could have brought you 5 case studies which organizations where I am associated are doing great work on telemedicine. But that doesn't make a point. It is good to impress upon you that telemedicine works. But these are small success stories. Unless the group of diverse people, and I tell you within India, Pawan Kumar is not here. Pawan does excellent work in telemedicine in Nanavati. Care Hospital does great work in telemedicine. So does Apollo in Chennai. So everywhere piecemeal work on telemedicine is going on. But it has not still come together where we can say we change the lives of 2 million people, save 10,000 lives. This is what EMRI could do. EMRI would be able to show you that we saved 2,000 lives in Andhra Pradesh. That model got picked up by every state. They documented everything. In telemedicine, we still don't do it. Lastly, I clearly see it's not going to be a fight between users and non-users of ML. People will be fighting it between Androids, Blackberries, or other smartphones. People are fighting between Windows and Android. That is where the fight will converge to, because still today, the most US FDA approved applications are on iPhone. And it is the elitist cell phone to be used for healthcare. I mean, it costs 40,000 rupees. I mean, don't expect doctors in India to be paying 40,000 rupees for using iPhone. Maximum applications have been approved on iPhone only, including the stethoscope, the diabetes management tool. So I see a fight in 2015 or 2020 happening when doctors will say, oh, I use an Android. Someone will say, I use a Windows-based phone for health. But definitely not saying I don't use, because the consumers will not give you an option. Today, all of us search the net for health. You will set your mobile. That will become your first doctor. So that is where I see telemedicine going. Thank you.